Nice. And then let's notice what you're bringing this morning to your practice. So, what you're bringing physically. What do you feel like this morning, sensation wise, in your body? And we're noticing this hopefully with the spirit of curiosity, right? So, we're not trying to um, judge how we're feeling. Instead, you might even actively welcome in whatever state you're in this morning. The same thing goes for mentally and emotionally. Could you actively welcome in how you're feeling in that way? How your thoughts are this morning? And then also noticing your pranamaya kosha, which is that layer of vitality, and noticing how vital you might feel this morning or not. Where do you feel a lot of energy? Could be in your mind, it could be in your body somewhere. And then drawing in your breath. So your breath also being your prana, your life force, drawing in that breath perhaps a little wider this next time. And then exhale. You could exhale out the mouth if you want, like a sigh or blowing out through pursed lips. Getting every last bit of air out. And then repeating. You could stay with that breath, or you could move to your natural breath or even ujjayi breathing here. And today, I thought we'd work with one of the niyamas called aparigraha, and it means non-grasping. So it's one of these internal observances. And so the idea here that we'll try in our physical asana practice is being in the process of what you're doing. So there's this quote from the Bhagavad Gita, which is, I'm not quoting it directly, I just wrote down a few words about it. Be concerned with your action and not the fruits of your action, right? So it's just like being in the moment as best as you can, not worrying about getting things right, but could you just be present with what you're doing? So we'll go for that, okay? I'll try to remind you of that as we practice today. Okay, as you're ready here, let's inhale and just straighten out your arms and legs on the floor. Stretch through the arms, stretch through the legs. And then as you exhale, let's bring the right knee in and give it a squeeze. Good. You can hold it with both hands or one hand. As you inhale, let's use your right hand now to take the knee out to the right. And exhale, bringing it back to the center. Now holding the knee with your left hand, extending right arm out. Let's inhale to bring the knee across the body toward a twist. And exhale as you bring it back to the center. Good, and let's just do that again, switching between the two sides. Right hand comes to knee, inhale, take it out to the right. Exhale, center. And you could even make the movement a little faster. So instead of 2 breaths for each movement, you might do 1 breath for each movement. Okay, up to you. Good. Nice. So noticing how your hips feeling this morning, maybe into your low back as you're twisting, noticing that as well. The inner thigh of the leg as you take it out to the side. Good. And now next time you come back to the center, let's hold behind the leg if you can reach. You might want to bend the left knee and place the foot on the floor, up to you. We're going to inhale, stretch the right leg up to the ceiling, and exhale, bend it again. And repeat. Good. Now you can either hold it up there or you can keep moving. Now, when you're ready to, let's release it down to the floor and straighten out both legs. A pause for a moment, noticing the two sides. And then as you're ready, let's inhale and stretch arms overhead again. Reach through the legs and exhale, left knee in. So we'll do the same thing we did on the other side, okay? So just slowly beginning to move between leg out to the side and coming into a twist, going back and forth, using your breath however you'd like to use it. So letting your practice be an exploration of your body, right? How you feel physically. And also an exploration of how your mental and emotional system is responding, your nervous system. And we're not trying to achieve anything here. It's trying to be present and explore in our bodies. When you come back to the center the next time, you could experiment with straightening the leg up toward the ceiling. And your right leg might want to be bent on the floor, or it could be straight on the floor, either way. You could either leave it up there straight, or you could be moving the whole time. Good. And then as you're ready, you could come back to the floor, straightening out the legs. I forgot we are actually going to use a blanket in this next little piece. So if you could find your blanket, if you don't have a blanket at home, use anything with a little weight. We're going to be putting this blanket on the bottom of our right foot and extending the leg up toward the ceiling. So what I do is I have my folded blanket. If you can't see me, I have my folded blanket on my foot. Now the left leg could be bent or it could be straight. All right. So see what feels better in your body. You might feel like you still need to bend and straighten the leg a few times just to get used to it. Okay. Good. Now, once you feel settled there, we're going to inhale. And as you exhale, place your left hand on your left hip. And maybe even your fingers could feel the left side of your abdominals. Okay. And then inhale again. And as you exhale, we're going to take that right leg out to the right, but not very far. We're trying to feel those left abdominals stabilizing you. And then inhale, bring it back up to center. We're just going to repeat this action. So it's this little movement out to the right and then bringing it back to center, with our focus being on not moving the hips as you do it. So, your leg is heavy, and especially with the blanket on it, if you were just to allow it to fall to the side, that there's nothing wrong with that. But we're focusing on using our core here. Oh, good. I like that modification, Donna. So clever. You could also use a block. It just falls a lot easier. Yeah. It's just to get some feedback. So anything with weight works. Good. So you're finding out, what's my hip mobility and my adductor, that's the inner thigh range, when I don't just let myself fall to the side, right? When I'm really stabilizing. What's that range feel like? And what do you notice as you're doing it? Can you notice your core supporting you as you do this? Good. Good. And then coming back to center, let's take a break. Bend the knee, blanket off the foot, just rest for a moment, or you can get ready for the next side right away. Kind of noticing how you're feeling. Okay. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we'll get that blanket on the left foot or whatever you're using. Extend upward. You can warm it up first if you need. Your right leg can be straight on the floor or bent. I like to place my right hand on the hip and or right abdominal area as I begin the movement. It doesn't matter when you breathe, just keep breathing. Kind of feel that stabilizing action happening through your core. And just noticing, where are you feeling it? Are you feeling it more in the outer hip, the work that's happening there? Or are you feeling it more in the inner thigh? Or both? Or somewhere else? Try to go slowly. A couple more. Good. And then coming back up to center, removing the blanket. Good. You can draw both knees into your belly if you'd like here. Give them a squeeze. Good. And we're going to curl up into a little ball when you're ready and just start to roll like a ball. If this doesn't feel good on your back, feel free to line your mat with your blanket or not do it, okay? And what I'm going to start to do is turn on my mat. So the people in the studio here, let's turn so that your feet would be facing me, except for Joellen and Wendy back there and Ben. You guys are going to turn whatever way you want. It's just so that your head and spine are now perpendicular to your mat. So the long parts of your mat are on your right and left. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, just look at me. I'm doing it. Okay, so here I am, right? I'm facing away from you, okay? And the long ends of my mat. And now I'm just in knees to chest. And I think it would be helpful if you guys watched me first for this. Okay. Everybody okay back there? And coordinating with your neighbors? Okay, this is what we're going to be doing. You guys ready? You shouldn't be in anybody's way because you're just on your own mat. Do you see this? I'm not on anybody else's mat. Okay, maybe. Okay, watch me for a second. So what I'm going to be doing is this. I'm going to be coming into a wide V with my arms spread. It doesn't matter how wide your V is, okay? And then I'll be taking both legs to one side. Watch me do this whole sequence first. So my legs will come down to the right and my arms are open. I'll talk you through the breath, but then I'll close like a book, like we did last week, head rolling to the side. I'll open like a book, and then I'll slowly lift the top leg. I'm not going to lift the bottom leg until I have to. I'm going to go very slowly, trying to feel my core supporting me as I come over to the other side. Legs go down, closing the book, my head turns. I could have a blanket below my head if it felt better on my neck. Open the book, top leg lifts, bottom leg doesn't come up until I have to. Okay, ready? Let's try it. Okay, so legs up toward the ceiling, arms wide, just take an inhale and an exhale. When you're ready, let's inhale, try and open the legs. Exhale as you start to take your turn to the right. Okay, so right leg comes down, left leg joins it on the floor. And then let your arm close, let your head turn. We'll inhale to open the book. The head can turn back if it feels natural. And then exhale, lifting the top leg, and the bottom leg will follow when it needs to, coming all the way over. It's okay if you're not with me on the breath, just keep breathing. Come over to the left, closing the book. Taking a breath to open the book. Doesn't matter which breath. Taking a breath to lift top leg. Bottom leg follows when necessary. And now I think you've got it. And even if you don't, you can just do it how it works for your body. Okay, going side to side. We're focusing. Oh, I see why you guys had to stagger. Yeah, we're focusing on core control here. So trying to feel that your core is supporting you as you're doing it. And you might also be noticing your inner thighs, right? Because the inner thighs have to do a lot here. They're opening as well as the hips, the spine. Just keep breathing. And we'll do a few more. Oh. Oh, I see. Yeah, we don't want heads in people's butts. That's what's going on. That's what you guys had to stagger. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah. It's almost like you're a big wheel. Right? Nice. And then when you're ready, you can come back to the center. Bring your knees into your belly. Just notice for a moment. And curling into a little ball. We're going to rock and roll again. This time we'll rock and roll feet to the center of the room. Okay. And we'll come all the way up and just come in onto hands and knees. Inhale and go through some cats and cows here. So you can inhale, lift tail, chest forward, exhale and round. And repeat. Good. And then next time you come through neutral, let's pause. And you may need to stagger with your neighbor again. You're going to inhale and take the right leg out to the side, perhaps from the right hip. And if you need to turn on your mat so that your foot isn't on somebody else's mat, you can do that too. Okay, so now I've got my right leg out to the right. I'm going to cat and cow here. Okay. Rounding and arching, noticing how that feels. Feel free to turn whatever way you need to turn. Good. Now, next time you have tail up, let's pause and really press that right foot down into the floor so you can feel that inner thigh working. Okay. And then as you exhale, you can tuck your back toes, try to keep the tail lifted as you take your seat back to your heel and back up. You just kind of come in and out. You got it. Good. And my sole of foot is on the floor. You know, it's down, but yours doesn't have to be. If that doesn't feel good in your ankle, you can always modify, but you might try it and see what it's like for you. Let's do a few more of those. And then next time you come up, let's pause, take an inhale, get your shoulders protracted so wide. And as you exhale, would you be able to lift that right leg off the floor and then put it back down with control? Just see how that goes. Notice what's happening in your neck. I know it's hard out to do. Notice what's happening in your neck. Notice if you're like twisting your whole body to try to do it, right? It might just lift a tiny bit off the floor. Good, one more. And then coming back in with the knee when you're ready. Inhale to tilt the tail up. Exhale, let's take the left leg out and just adjust yourselves with your neighbor so that everybody's got their own space. Okay, a few cats and cows here. Good. And then next time you tilt tail up, let's really press that left foot down into the floor so you feel your inner thigh turn on. And then tail up, you can start to sit back toward the heel and rise again. Okay, so you're just feeling into, I'm sure you are experiencing this, but let me know at any time if you have questions or you're not sure, right? Just feeling into that inner thigh, the adductor area, as well as your hip. Your hip's doing a lot here. It might not be able to be straight out. Yeah, there you go, Katie. Good. And then next time you come up to the center, you can also try to lift that leg and lower it. So try to use an exhale, just so you've got a lot of core support and your shoulder blades are wide. You might find that you can't lift it at all. Okay, that's an option that might happen, right? Good. And just one more of those. And bringing the leg down and in. And you guys that have had to rearrange, you can come back to just straight on your mat. We're going to come down into Sphinx pose. So just coming down onto your forearms, pubic bone pressing down. Good. Notice how your neck feels, and bring your elbows either right below your shoulders or ahead of them, not behind. Okay, so you've got enough support here. Some people might need to be lower if you've got back issues. Okay, good. Now just inhale, spreading across your collarbones. And as you exhale, I'm just going to bring my left arm a little bit forward and shift and turn to look. I let my hips and knees bend and move. And then inhale back to the center and the other side. And inhale back to the center here. And as you exhale, can you engage your lower abdominals and let them lift away from the floor? If they can. They might not actually take flight off the floor, but can you try to? Like just engage them as though you're on like a really cold veterinarian table is what I picture, and you're trying to get off of it. Yeah. Okay. And then from here, don't try not to get all jacked up in your neck. Okay. So some people I see kind of crunching up like this. None of that, right? It's just down here, right? So make sure your elbows, your shoulder blades are wide. If your back feels okay doing so, you might be able to keep going. So as I draw my belly in, I'm also tucking my tail now. And I'm lifting into like a modified forearm plank here with tail lengthening toward heels. That does not feel good in your back. Some people that are really tight and not able to get that tuck, they might not feel good in their back when they do that. If that's the case, come up to your knees and walk knees back and come from there. So my hope for you when you're doing this is that we're feeling a core connection. All right, so you're just working on that and release it and come back in if you need to. Keep lengthening the tail toward the heels. So instead of being with booty up, right? Boom, down if you can. Good. And then let's come up into a full forearm plank if you can. So you can tuck the toes and lift the knees off the floor. Now that's just an option. Once you get there, you might feel like, oh, I got to put the knees back down. Okay, so feel free. If you're in forearm plank with me right now, lengthen your tail towards your heels and really engage the belly. Good. Keep lengthening your tail. So tuck the tail under and breathe. You guys feeling your core engaging? Okay. And then let's take a break. You can drop your knees and come back to puppy dog pose, stretching arms forward, tail up. You could come into child's pose or even downward dog. Any of those are options. Good. Let's take a few wide inhales and long exhales here. Noticing. And yeah, let your jaw and your neck relax. Maybe you can even get a rhythmic breath here. It doesn't need to be Ujjayi breath. It can be any kind of breath that works for you. Had one more there. And then now let's come into a tabletop position again. I'm going to pad my knees here. You might want to too. Okay, up to you. Yes, it's unlocked. Yeah, bathroom's open. So I'm coming into a tabletop with my knees padded. And what I'm going to do is inhale, widen the shoulder blades, and exhale, take the right leg straight back, toes on the floor. Okay, so I'm here. And inhale and exhale. I'm just going to start to turn the right hip open and then close it again. When I turn it open, I'm also swiveling my left lower leg to the side. Okay, so, and I'm also putting my heel down when I turn in. I'll come around in the room. I'm just showing everybody at home first here. Just doing a movement. I'm not moving my arm really. I've actually on my right fingertips a little bit to help the process happen. Yeah, just turn it to the side. You got it. And then coming back down. Turn into the side and letting that bottom leg swivel. Yeah, okay. Nice, you guys. Good, and now let's stay open. So staying open to the side, letting that bottom leg swivel, you can take that right arm up toward the ceiling if you'd like. You could also be on the bottom fist. You guys with the wrist issues, you could put your fists down instead of your hands. And you could also reach your right arm along your ear if you'd like. So it's going toward the center of the room. If you're in the studio, you got it. And just getting a long side stretch, breathing. Good. Letting your neck be at ease so you can look wherever you want to. Okay. Let's take 2 more breaths here. Good. And now on an exhale, let's slowly close back down to the starting position. Okay, we've still got the right leg back behind us, but now both hands are on the floor. Okay, inhale, lifting right leg off the floor, keeping hips facing floor. Okay, exhale, let's engage the core and widen the shoulder blades. Inhale, can you open your right hip to the side, but keep everything else the same? And exhale, close it back down. So these are the moon rises that we do with the knee off the floor sometimes. We're just doing them with the knee on the floor. Okay, so trying a few of these, you guys got it. Turning that hip to the side and then closing it. And just getting curious about what's happening in your body as you do this. What's happening through your shoulders and your neck. Good. Couple more. Now, can you feel your core working on the next couple? If you're not already. Just stabilizing, drawing ribs in. And if you want to, you could try to keep that right leg open. You might start by just getting light on the right fingertips. And then you might be able to slowly bring the right hand to your right hip. So you're in like a half moon pose on your knee. Ardha Chadrasana. Drawing ribs in. You might not feel like you have the balance for that. You all are doing great. So if not, you can just put that hand back down, right? Keep breathing. And then release, come back down. This time, let's bring that right knee back in and pause. You might feel like you want to do a few hip circles or cats and cows. If your wrists are bothering you, remember you can always use your fist here. Let's do the other side when you're ready. Inhale, neutral, drawing left leg back. Exhale, we're turning the left hip open and letting that right bottom leg swivel, and then we're coming back. So we're just finding parigraha, which is gate pose, parigrasana, excuse me. I'm confusing it with a parigraha. Okay, and coming back down. Okay. This opening and closing. You can start taking the arm away if you want to. And then the next time you open, you could stay there. And you could do any arm position. You got it. The arm could go up toward the ceiling. It could go along the ear. It could be on your hip. Just breathe and notice whatever you're noticing. Can you engage your core while you're in this pose? Just kind of draw the ribs in a little bit so you're not back bending. Nice. One more breath there. And then exhale. Let's close it down, coming back to our starting position with the left leg back. Good. Like a half plank pose. Protracted shoulder blades. Inhale. Exhale, lifting left leg off the floor. And then inhale, we're opening just the hip, the left hip to the side, and then exhale, closing it back down and repeating. And noticing how this feels. Can you have your core engaged as you do it? So ribs drawing in, shoulders away from ears. Okay. Good. And it doesn't matter how much you're able to open it or not. Good. Now you might experiment with staying open. You could get up on the left fingertips if you wanted, or you could even try to fully balance, opening the chest to the left as well. Keep breathing. And notice if you're clenching in any of those areas where you tend to clench, right? Like wherever that is for you, it might be your neck or jaw or back. Keep breathing. Nice. And when you're ready, we'll come back down. And from here, you could go to child's pose or downward dog, moving around however you'd like to. Maybe taking a few sighs. Remember, being in that aparigraha means non-grasping. Right? So not grasping, non-attachment to an outcome in this case. Feeling your whole body right here, right now. Good. And then if you want to join us in downward dog, for those of you in child's pose, you could join us there. You could give it a shot. Okay. And you can move around, right? Especially if you're just getting there for the first time today. I'm going to experiment with lifting my right leg up. If you've got a wall behind you, just you can walk away from it or you could use it. I'm going to lift my right leg up high, and I'm going to allow the hip to open. Yeah, so I can get a little bit more into the standing leg, that left leg's inner thigh area. Kind of working on that area today, right? Yeah, so just noticing that, stretching that top leg up. You might even try to point the toe. So just a little different focus. Might even try to keep the leg straight on the upper leg. Bottom leg might need to be very bent. Good. Good. One more breath there. And when you're ready, come back down. You might need to take a break between sides. So listen to your body, right? Come on down if you need to, or you can come right into the next side if you want to. Leg goes up. You might start to open things. Can feel free to move around and use your body how you'd like to, right? It's your body. So you don't have to listen to what I'm saying. You can do what's right for you at any time. Good. Nice. A couple more breaths here if you want to. You can always stay as long as you'd like. Good. And if you're still in the pose, you might be ready to come out now. We're going to meet at the front of our mats or anywhere on your mat in a forward fold. Your knees could be bent. You can shake out your head a little bit if you'd like, nodding or going side to side. Let's come back to your breath. So if you find that you've been in your head or just overwhelmed by something in your body, can you now come to focus on your breath a little more? And just feel it go in for a few counts and go out either for the same count or a little bit longer. Good, and try that again. And now as you're ready, let's inhale and extend your spine forward, maybe even taking the weight toward the balls of your feet. Hands can come to legs anywhere. Exhale, let's bend the knees like you're seated in a chair behind you. And then inhale, let's stand up and reach way up. Exhale, you could bring your hands through the center, palms touching if you'd like, all the way down. Just pausing for a moment here, feeling all 10 of your toes, balls and heels of your feet, shoulders and jaw, letting go a bit. Following the breath in and out. Let's release the arms down and open your eyes. And let's bring our blocks up to the front of your mat. Oh, there's mine. Okay, good. Let me see if I can get these guys. Okay, I'm going to stand up near your blocks. And feel yourself standing. We're going to move through a sun salutation variation. All right, so let's inhale and reach the arms up, Surya Namaskar. Exhale and fold. Inhale to extend your spine forward. And exhale, let's do plank with our hands on the blocks. So your blocks either on medium or low height, whatever you feel better with. Stepping feet back. Of course, you could have knees down if you prefer. Really protract the shoulder blades. Good, widening them. Good, inhale and exhale. Inhale again. And as you exhale, let's bend the knees and come back to down dog with hands on your blocks. Good, so you can arrange your hands so they feel like they've got the best grip for you, where you feel stable. And if it just doesn't work for you, of course, you can let them go and just use the floor. Okay. Good. Now, as you inhale, let's lift the right leg up a little or a lot. And exhale, yeah, watch the wall. Exhale, can you step that right foot outside the right block or right hand? Yeah, it might not get there. Okay, it might not get there. And then let's try to do that again. So press into the blocks, engage your core, and see if the right leg can go back. It doesn't have to lift up. It could be on the floor. And exhale, let's try to step it forward again, wherever you can get it to, okay? And let's try it a couple more times, that same thing. Okay, so you inhale, taking the leg up, or it could just go back to down dog, and you exhale, step it outside the block. Yeah, all right, one more time. Going up, and exhale, step it forward. Let's stay here. If you need to have the back knee down, of course you can. Right. Inhaling here and exhaling here. Now let's all drop the back knee. Inhale and exhale. Let's arrange yourself. So get yourself set up where your blocks might need to be taller for some people. You might need to move them in so that you feel like you're supported here. You're not straining. Okay, good. Now my leg is on a little bit of an angle, right? It's not coming straight ahead of my right hip. It's open. We're working in this area today, right? You can exhale, kind of sicking the hips forward a little more if that feels good to you. But could you also feel like you're drawing the right heel back on the floor so you turn on some of these muscles at the same time? Good. Inhale and exhale. Good. Now, you may want to pad your left knee. I do. So I'm just going to throw that back there. What I'm going to do is start to walk this right or inch this right foot a little forward on this angle. You don't have to, okay? You want to feel like you can still breathe. Nothing's too intense. I might even come onto my heel and lift my hips up. So I'm in a half Hanumanasana. You see how I did that? I just lifted the hips back up, right? Good. Or you can be going toward more of a Hanumanasana, of kind of a funky. Make sure you feel okay there, right? So you're not straining. Yeah. Yeah, go for it, right? You want to breathe into whatever blockages you feel or back off from them, right? So whatever feels right to you, you can explore. You can also choose to kind of come in and out right? So you might bend the front knee, come out and straighten it again. Right? So noticing kind of what your body feels like it needs without pushing things beyond. Yeah. Good. Good. And now the next time that you come out, let's step that leg back and you can go into your downward dog, or you can do our funky upward dog that we were doing last week, where my hands are still on the blocks and I engage my glutes. And so I start off in this modified plank, and then I slowly just kind of let my hips drift forward with the amount that feels okay in my body. Yeah. I'm moving my shoulders down my back. I've got my core engaged. You guys? Okay. Good. And then exhale, engage it more to come out. And you could go back to child's pose with your hands on the blocks, or you could go back to downward dog. Okay. Either one. Right. Take a couple of breaths there. Yeah. Notice how your wrists are feeling. I see a few of you rolling them around. So how could you put less pressure on them? It's okay to put pressure on them unless they're injured, right? We're trying to make them stronger, but just being aware of them. And now we'll get ready for the second side. So you can move from downward dog. We'll work on those stepping forwards, right? So we're going to come into our down dog when you're ready. We'll inhale to take the left leg up. It's okay if the hips open. And we'll try to exhale, stepping it any amount forward. Maybe you get it outside the left hand, maybe you don't. Okay. Just working with it and noticing when you bring the leg back and up, can you focus on using your core to assist in that movement? So as you go back, can you engage the abdominals and go back? And it's okay to just take your time. It's also okay to step back just to down dog, right? So I step to down dog instead of taking the leg up, and I just try to bring it forward. Good. And now you might step it forward and stay there for a moment. If your wrists are bothering you, try to make fists on your blocks. That can work too, right? Kind of like this, Karen. Yeah, it's like boom. Yeah, exactly. There. All right. So you just feel a little stronger through the wrists. And then dropping the knee if and when you're ready. Okay. And let's get some engagement going, feeling like you're sliding this front heel back toward the back knee, engaging the back glute. Now, you might know right away that you want to lift the hips as you start to straighten that front leg. It might feel good to bring them back into half Hanumanasana first, right? Or you could do it like we did before, where we walked the foot forward. It's totally up to you, okay? You could come in and out, kind of going back and coming forward, or lunging and straightening. Or you could start to slide that leg forward if that feels good to you, using the supports of your blocks and breathing, right? Breathing. And when you're done playing around with that, we'll meet back either in extended child's pose with the blocks, giving the wrists a rest, or downward dog, or even something else if something else feels better to you. Yeah, feel free to just stay there as long as you need to. All right, everybody, from here, when you're ready, we can meet in our downward dog again. You could use the blocks or not. You don't have to use them. So whatever feels best. Take a few rhythmic breaths. And let's walk up, or you could always hop if that's your thing, to the front of your mat. And hands on legs somewhere or blocks, extending spine forward. And exhale to sit like you're sitting in a chair. Utkatasana. Inhale, reaching arms up. Let's bring them through the center in interest of space here. Is exhale and down. And let's go up again when you're ready. Inhale up. And exhale, folding. Inhale to extend your spine forward. And exhale, we're going to step the right knee or right leg back and drop the knee down. You might want to pat it. And we're going to rise up on the knee, on that right knee. Okay. So get as much padding as necessary. Inhale. Now exhale, I'm going to turn to my right. And as I do that, I'm going to let the foot, you see, I just let that bottom foot come behind me. So now my left knee is out to the side and my right knee is directly below my right hip. My right foot is right behind my right hip. Good. And my left foot and ankle is below my left knee, not like tucked under. It's right there. Okay. Here we are. Make sure everything feels okay. And I'm going to come around to you guys in the room that can't see me, that are turned away in a moment. What I'm going to do is just start to sink into the left side. So let the hips go left and back up, only as far as you can with the heel on the ground, Yeah. And so, yeah. And if it feels like, wow, this is a huge opening in my inner thigh, step your foot closer to the long end of the mat that's in front of you. Like I'm having Ellie do it here because she has an injury going on. Yeah, so I'm going to have her, so her hip doesn't have to externally rotate as much, right? So if it just feels, and you might want to do that too, Joellen, on the other side, but just when you're coming into it, if you're like, that is way too much rotation, even if you don't have an injury, just step that foot closer so it's not open as much, right? Yeah, there you go, you guys. And now is your knee migrating through this, like toward the center of your foot? It's the alignment we usually talk about in yoga, but let's be really versatile and be able to move in all directions. So let's let that knee very slowly as you come forward, go toward the inside of the foot, big toe side, and make sure there's no pain, right? Okay, make sure there's no pain. And then the outside of the foot. And just kind of see, you can even go around in circles around the foot. So your knee is moving around. Our knee has some rotational capability, and we want to be strong in all angles to prevent injuries. So, but take it easy, especially if you have an injury. And then let's try to see how it feels. Just go right down the middle. Does that feel okay in your body? And you might even, if you want to get a little funky here, you could even try to push off the foot and lift off, a little lift off. You don't have to, it's just an option, right? You can even use arms, Yeah, and that is where I'm going next. I might even swoop straight in the leg. I might lose my balance when I do. Yeah, exactly, like a little kick, a little pow, as you come up, yeah. Good. Nice, everybody. All right. Next time you put that foot back down, let's rise back up, hip over back knee. Make sure your bottom knee is still okay. Pat it more if needed. I'm going to straighten the left leg now. So I'm in Parigrasana. Okay. And let's dorsiflex the ankles. So the toes pull back toward the shins. Good. And now let's internally rotate the hip. So now my toes are pointing the same way my nose is pointing to the side, and I'm putting the sole of my foot down on the floor. You might not be able to do that with your ankles. And then I'm going to go back, externally rotate, toes towards ceiling. Yeah, you see what I'm doing here? I'll come around if you can't see me. So I'm just this to this. And I'm seeing, is my whole hip moving? Like, am I able to move from my femur bone, not just my ankle here? And you might notice something like I have to turn my belly slightly. It's not able to fully do this motion, right? So just allow that and be aware. Yeah. Good. Now, which one do you like better in your body? Let's stay in that one for a moment, whichever foot position you prefer. Okay. And then if you want, you could inhale, reach the right arm up toward the ceiling. You could keep going straight up, or you could exhale and lean toward the left leg. Good, and breathe. Good. Couple more breaths there. And when you're ready, inhale back up and exhale. Bring that knee back to your bent position that we started in, and just turn toward the front of your mat and step yourself back to downward dog or just plank pose, and switch sides. Left knee coming down, coming up into your half kneel. Take your time, no rush. Okay. And then we'll be turning to the left. Right knee will be out to the side. Left lower leg behind us, plenty of padding. Let me know if anybody needs more padding brought to them. Okay. Knee is bent for this one, knee above ankle. And I'm just going to start with my motion in and out. Just getting curious about it, no particular way to do it. Knowing that if this feels like a really big opening, and I'll show you guys at home because I wasn't in the camera when I did this, but it feels like a really big opening. You walk your foot closer to this front edge of the mat, so there's less of an external rotation in the hip. And you can take any angle. I could walk this foot wherever I want, right? See what you like. Coming in and out. Can start playing around with where your weight is on your foot, right? You might go to the inner foot, the outer foot. Just go slowly. And only go forward as far as feels okay on your knee and, of course, your adductors, right? Breathing. Now, if you want to practice that lift off, you could also do that. I don't know where the phone is. Oh. Woo. A little pow. Yeah, you could do arms. Good. Good. And now let's transition into our Chadrasana. So coming upright, and then we'll straighten the left leg out. Is it the left? It's the right. It's the right leg. Okay. Good. And dorsiflex it. So that means knee and toes towards ceiling out there. Yeah. Good. And then you can try going between the two. So internally rotating the hip and then bringing it back up, external, internal, and just noticing, how your whole body responds, how much range of motion you have. If anything else feels like it needs to move as you do it. And then picking your favorite one today. It doesn't have to be written in stone or anything, just your favorite right now, okay? And then lifting your left arm up if you'd like. You can stay going straight up, or you can start to lean toward the right and breathe. Good. Letting your neck be at ease, letting your jaw be at ease. Good. And now as you're ready, on an exhale, coming back up, and you can bring that extended leg back into a bent position and turn to face it. Okay. And get your blocks for assistance and a step toward the front of your mat. Hands above knees. Let's inhale, extend your spine forward. Good. Exhale, bending the knees. And inhale, stand. Exhale, arms come down. All right, this is where we're going to use a wall. So I think I've figured out how I'm going to do this. I'm only going to do one of the things. So all you need for this wall space, and I'm going to show you here. I think I'm going to show you here. So I only need something that's wide enough for my foot to go on, right? And my body is going to be straight ahead, and I'm going to need my blocks. Some of you have done this with me before. What I've got to figure out first, bending the knees, I'm going to figure out where my right foot can be on the wall. You might end up like this, like you're all rounded, right? It's because this is tight back here. So in order to help with that, you're going to bend the knee as much as needed, the bottom leg, and just bend it. But my weight is in my heel when I'm bending my knee. See that? I can tap it, okay? So that I can extend my spine forward as best as I can. All right, let's give it a shot. When you're ready, I'll help with organizing you if you're in this space. Let's see, Katie, maybe you go here where I was. Would that be okay with you? Yeah, here, you can even use my blocks too. Okay. All right, let's see, Karen, let's put your blocks high. Everybody should have their blocks high for sure. Okay, you got space enough, Alicia? I got that. Okay. Here we go. All right, let's see, everybody have a spot? All right. Oh, good idea, Gwen. Okay, yeah. All right, so this is hard, isn't it? Yeah, this is hard, just so you know. I know it's hard, okay? And what we're trying to do is push your foot into the wall and straighten the top leg while facing your hips toward the floor. And have your weight in your standing leg heel. I think it might feel better to have your foot up here. Yeah, that's it. Yes, and then both hips are facing the floor. Some people are gonna have both straight legs, and some people are gonna have a very bent bottom leg. Okay, and you're really long, and you're feeling like you're trying to kick that foot into the wall behind you. That's it. And then could your spine feel like it's reaching forward, your chest reaching forward, shoulder blades coming down your back. That's it. Nice. Now, this might be a totally insane idea, but some of you might be able to get a little light on your hands and feel like, and don't back bend to do it. Don't back bend, but just think like, could I possibly get light on my hands at all? And then you might be like, that's insane. But just consider the idea, okay? Without twisting your spine or back bending. Good. And now let's take a break. Let's bring the leg down, either forward fold or stand, whatever feels better in your body, okay? Or something else. Yeah, that's it. And just notice. All right. And then when you're ready for the other side, let's bring left foot to wall. If you need to adjust your spacing in the room, go for it. Remember your weight, and I suggest trying it first. Weight is in the heel of the right leg. So just kind of bending the knee as much as you need to, not getting jacked up in your neck. Right? Your heel on the wall is not any higher than your hips are. So it's not any higher than the length of your leg, of that bottom leg. Good. And you're working to square the hips by bending that bottom knee to help you, and extending your spine forward and kicking the back leg into the wall if you can. Yeah. Good. Keep breathing. Notice if you're clenching anywhere. Yeah. Good. Notice what you're feeling, where you're feeling work, where you're feeling stretch. The whole works here. One more breath here. And then take a break in your pose of choice. Yeah, good. Good. Yeah, move around if you need to. Stay still if you need to. Good. Nice work, everybody. Yeah, are you in the process? You probably are, because it's hard not to be, right? There's no goal. You're not trying to do anything perfectly, okay? This is just a really interesting thing to feel. Now we're going to do this again, but this time we're going to be opening the hips. So if you imagine, I'm going to just show it without the wall here. If you imagine that, or actually, you don't even have to imagine. What I'm going to do is, actually, I will show it, Katie. Thank you. Got my foot on the wall, right? I'm going to go from here to here. Remember when we did this on our knee? It's the same idea, right? Here, so I'm going from warrior 3, Vira 3, to Ardha Chadrasana, half moon pose. See that? Boom. Only if it feels okay in your hips. I'm going to have you do several because it's a great hip strengthener. Then we might try to hold here. Okay. Let's give it a shot. Okay. If you don't like it, just stay in the Vira 3. You can stay in warrior 3 pose. You don't have to open the hip. Okay. When you're ready, we're going to take the right leg up first and breathe. Okay. Foot to the wall, just get your bearings, right? Get settled there in warrior 3 pose. We're not opening yet. We're staying closed. I know you might get excited to do the next thing, but just try to be in the process, right? And then from here, can you just not open the arm, just the hip and foot, just the hip and foot on the wall, and see how that feels, and then close it again. And you'll notice we usually do this away from the wall. It's a big hip strengthener. So you might be feeling that. And if not, maybe try to focus in on this rotation of the hip and how it feels as you're doing it. Good. Opening and closing, 5 to 10 times. I know you're dealing with different kinds of walls and surfaces. Trying to hold through your core or support through your core. And then if you want to, you can keep the hip open if that feels okay. You could keep the arm down. You could also keep the hip closed. You could also try to lift that right hand off your block and bring it to your hip or toward the ceiling, and open your chest to the side as well. And Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose. Good. Just keep breathing. Wonderful, you guys. Just giving your own body and nervous system just enough challenge, not overdoing it. Good. Few breaths, keep breathing. And then when you're ready to come down, come down. Pose in between sides that suits you. Okay, nice work. Notice if you're getting tight or clenching anywhere. Okay, and when you're ready, no rush. We'll go to the second side with the left leg up. No rush at all. Okay, and going through every step so that you can really notice your own body and what's going on. Okay, so left leg up with hips closed and pausing there, really getting that pose. Okay, noticing how this side feels, where you might be overworking. Good. And then as you're ready, we're just going to rotate hip and leg and foot, not the chest and everything else if you can. See how that is for you. Keep breathing. You're fine. You're fine as long as you are fine in your own body. Okay. Good. And then if you want to leave it open, you could. Okay. You could also keep it closed or come out, right? If you want to, you could try to get light with the left hand or bring it off the block, either to hip or toward the ceiling, maybe opening the chest to the side, rolling that shoulder open and breathing. Notice how the wall can assist you in half moon pose by really helping you engage that back leg. Good. Nice, everybody. Few breaths in whatever length you want this pose to be. And then coming out when you're ready. So a lot of people it seems like they're enjoying a forward fold when they come out, but you could also stand and swing and twist. You can make your way away from the wall. We're not going to use it for this next piece. So you can just head back to your comfortable space when you're ready. Good. Nice, everybody. Just getting there. Coming to standing when you're ready to, eyes open or closed. Just feel all 10 of your toes, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, the top of your head, reaching toward the ceiling as you ground down through your feet. Yeah, good. Now noticing the two sides of your body, how you feel comparatively. And let's get a rhythmic breath just so we get back into that inner zone, inner focus. Good. Now we'll have our blocks on high level at the front of our mats. And I'm going to do that same thing, but away from the wall. Okay. We're just going to pretend the wall's behind us. All right. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, let's fold and bend the knees to find the blocks. So I always have to, I never know where I need my feet and my blocks until I get into it, right? So just be able to adjust. I'm going to inhale, take my right leg back to a supported warrior three. Now I like to come up on my fingertips, so you can play around with your blocks as much as you want, right? I'm squaring my hips to the floor in warrior three. Can you pretend that you've got a wall behind you and really kick your heel into it as you reach your chest toward the center of the room and you breathe, right? You might need to come out before I say, so feel free to do that, right? Now, could you start to open your right hip to the wall, to the side, to the right? And you can decide, you could stay there or come down, or you could come into Ardha Chadrasana here. Starting to lift the right hand off, maybe, and breathing. Still imagine you've got that foot into the wall. So you get long through all four limbs, possibly. Keep breathing. It's okay to be wobbly, that's normal, okay? And then when you're ready to, some people might float a hand off and try to balance without the block. Maybe, maybe not, okay? You could even come back to warrior three with the blocks or even without the blocks, right? Trying to close the hip, okay? Keep breathing. And now let's just stand, exhale. Stand up, notice your two sides, wiggle around a little bit, right? Here we go. Let's do the other side. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold, find the blocks, bend the knees. All right, let's try to figure out where you need your feet. We're going to be taking the left leg back. Shoulder blades down the back, hips are square to the floor if you can. Imagine that you got your foot on the wall and you're kicking it into the wall as you extend your chest forward. Shoulder blades away from ears, neck at ease. Nice. Keep breathing. Feel that strength in modified warrior three. And when you're ready, you could try to open the hip if that feels okay to the left. Hands can stay down, or you could start to take your left hand off of your block, maybe reach it up. Imagine you've got a wall against your left foot. You're really extending. Keep breathing. Good. You could even try to float the bottom hand if you wanted to. You might need to come out early. You can do that too. Okay. Good. And when you're ready to, could we come into perhaps a balancing warrior three? Good. Keep breathing. And then stand. Good. You might want to swig and twist or just wiggle around. Good. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you're on, you guys at home, she's just asking about the bottom foot and she felt like it might be moving all around. Yeah, it's moving all around because it's trying to calibrate for your brain, right? All the proprioceptors in your ankle. So ideally, the most support would probably come from pressing down through all three corners of the foot, right? So they're all grounded, arches lifted. That would probably give you the most support here. What we were going to do is press our knee into a block against the wall to feel that the foot wasn't going to totally come in and the knee wasn't going to crash. But we don't have enough space for that today. So just kind of trying to feel the three corners of the feet grounding down, right, as you're in it. Let's feel that right now just in standing, right? We're not going to do that pose again, but of course you can if you want to. And if you want to, you could come into tree pose or any one-legged standing pose, balance pose, and experiment with feeling the three corners of your bottom foot. Okay, any variation doesn't matter. Okay, we're just doing this to feel that bottom foot right now. It's your focal point. Try to soften through the jaw, any arm position. Could do one leg for a few or several breaths. And then switch whenever you're ready. Yeah. So you can control the ankle by focusing on the foot, right? If I let my foot roll in, my ankle rolls in. So if I can keep pressing down through the three corners, and any balancing pose is an ankle strengthener, right? So we're working on ankle strength anytime you're standing on one leg. So something you can work on at home, especially if you're finding a lot of movement. Keep breathing. Thanks, everybody. And then when you're ready, just coming out, we're going to move toward the floor. And inhale to reach your arms up and exhale to fold. Now, if you want to come through a squat like Malasana pose, you can do that, or you can simply have a seat. Okay, so if you want to hang out in Malasana for a few breaths, go for it. Or you can come onto the floor. I'm going to recommend Dandasana pose, staff pose. Just dorsiflex the ankles, arms down. You could sit on a blanket if you want. Or Paschimottanasana, but with dorsiflexion of the ankles, just to get a little more into the calves. You could use a strap. If this isn't your thing today, you could also be on your back, right? With a strap around the feet, either one leg at a time or both. Let your neck relax in whatever you're choosing to do. Let your jaw relax. And then slowly we will come onto our backs. And in the interest of time, if there are any finishing postures you'd like to do, you can have your head either direction in the room. What I mean by that, if you want, or a happy baby pose, a knees to chest, a twist, anything, okay? Anything that you feel like your body needs before Shavasana, go for that now. Feel free to just explore. If you're not sure what your body needs, you can explore it. Okay? The more we practice following that kind of gut sense or intuitive sense of what our body needs or our nervous system needs, the better we get at it, right? So it just takes practice, tuning in, and then also listening, not ignoring. Settling into Shavasana, no rush at all to get there, okay? But whenever you're ready, finding your way there, using any support or props you'd like. When you get there, you might take a few sighs. Inviting yourself to let go of as much effort as you can. Around your eyes and your jaw, your tongue, your belly and hips, arms and hands, legs and feet. Noticing how you feel right now, like we did in the beginning, checking in physically, mentally, and emotionally. And also with your vitality, just how you're feeling, how much energy you have. Noticing how you want to feel for the rest of your day today. Imagine that you are breathing in that feeling to every cell of your body. Notice what that experience is like when you're doing that. And I'll let you all come out as you're ready. I am going to close our practice with the sound of Om. If you want to join me, you can. You can just stay where you are if you prefer. I'm going to inhale and then I'll Om. Inhaling. Om. All right. Thanks, everybody. Take your time, and the spray bottle is back there to spray down any props used. And I'll see you next time. Thank you. Mm. Thanks, guys.